Have you ever thought about becoming a Pilates instructor, or are you tired of your 9 to 5 job that you want to try something new? In this video, I'm going to walk you through how and why I became a Pilates instructor while working full-time at Google. So I've been at Google for about 9 years now. So I'm not actually a software engineer. I am a business development manager. I work with external partners to drive strategic partnership initiatives to grow Google's products, services, and ecosystem. So that's a whole different another story of a video. You might wonder, why did you want to be a Pilates instructor? I mean, doesn't Google pay you enough? Or do you even have time to do that? There's a reason. So growing up, I always would like being a mover. Literally, I loved moving my body. I've always been a dancer. Dances like jazz dance, like ballet lessons, and like modern dance, and like sometimes pop dance. Like it was all very much like exciting time of my life. And then one day, my back started to feel weird. So I went to the doctor, and then they told me that I have a spinal condition, and that is actually a fracture in my L4. It's a pars fracture and its vertebrae is shifted forward, so it's called spondylolisthesis. Unfortunately, it is not reversible, so you have to get a surgery, like spinal fusion surgery, where you put rods in your body to get it shifted back to your normal spinal alignment. I was actually told by the doctor that if I just let it sit like that, it's only going to get worse, and eventually I would need to have a spinal fusion surgery, and if I delay it too much, I might even get into a wheelchair. So that was a big shock in my life. So being the type A person I am, I tried every single method. Like I went to so many doctors and physical therapists and massage and like acupuncture, everything, but nothing seemed to really stick. At the end, what I found out is that doing a private Pilates session with an instructor really helped my back, really helped my back pain. So Pilates was really expensive, really expensive, because this wasn't like a group Pilates like where you can like use ClassPass. This was like a one-to-one instructor to me personalized program of 1 hour of Pilates, and that session here in California is like anywhere between like $90 to like $150 per an hour. So if you like add twice a week consistently over the course of time, it really is a big amount of money. One day I came across my studio was actually throwing a teacher training program, and I was thinking to myself, girl math time, this is actually really cheap compared to perpetually going to private Pilates class. And now I want to tell you a little bit about how I became a Pilates instructor. 3 things that I learned. First is you have to break the big goal down to a system and a bite-sized solution. First of all, a little bit of background. In order to be a comprehensive trained Pilates teacher, one must have to go through a series of anatomy class and learn the repertoire of Pilates. 3, practicing those repertoire in your body. 4, practice teaching other people these repertoires so that you learn how to communicate the exercise to other people. 5, you're also required to do teacher observation. So you will go to other teachers' Pilates class and you would observe and you would write notes. So that's another chunk that is required. So all of that is necessary. And then at the end, you take a written exam on human anatomy and the repertoires and the class design. And 2, you also have a live audition in front of other people. That's how usually a good Pilates certification program is set up. I just found it so overwhelming. It's so many hours. How am I gonna find time? I had to really break it down to really small bites. So I decided to, on Wednesday night and on Saturday, always do 2 hours of practice teaching every week. And then I decided to also do observation at least once a week, so that way I can work up my hours. And then when I'm commuting, I printed out all the anatomy materials, and I could actually just like look through the anatomy materials. So when I'm commuting on the bus, So that was another thing that I really like made it into bite-sized action. So I think this falls into achieving anything, right? You have to make it into a system, and you have to make it not so overwhelming, something that you can at least like chip away a little bit by little bit every day. So second tip is the balance with like my full-time job. So at the beginning, it was really tempting to kind of like, if I have free time at work or whatnot, kind of like, finish that homework that I need to do for Pilates. And then those two worlds started to collide. And what I actually noticed is that it's important to keep the boundary. And this is not for Google, it's for myself. I found that I was really confused. If I start to Google work, if I start to do like anything related to Pilates during my 9 to 5 hours. So I decided to really put that boundary and time block. So the time block that I allowed myself to work on Pilates was from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then also after work, so evening time. Because I noticed that I became more self-conscious if I look at anything Pilates related during the work hours. I would always like question myself, like there's so many emails and there's so many line of communications that I need to be on top of. Like, did I miss that because I looked at Pilates? And so I would get self-conscious. So I always made sure that I have that clear boundary and the time block. 3 is allow yourself a full day of rest. So I learned this hard way because at the beginning, so once I became a teacher, I started teaching in the studio on the weekends. And so quickly, Google work became from like Monday to Friday, and on weekends I was teaching Pilates. On Saturdays, sometimes I taught from 9 a.m. to like mid-afternoon, and that pretty much left me only a couple of hours of daylight during the winter time. So that was not a good way, and I got burnt out so quickly doing that. Since then, I always make it a rule to teach on a weekday night, or at least if I teach on the weekends, one day of the week. For me, Sunday, because I go to church, I'm a Christian. So on Sunday, I just do nothing related to either Google or Pilates. At least like that's the goal. So I think having these 3 things in my mind was really helpful to achieve my goal of becoming Pilates instructor. It certainly is a lot of commitment. And for me, having that passion of helping people who are suffering from back pain like I was before, it really helped me to kind of propel that passion towards it. So that's my story. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any questions about Pilates or Google or working at Google, please comment down below so I can make more videos about it. And I will see you next time. Bye.